Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for all my continued followers, I want to say thank you. And this is an opinion-based video channel where I try to open your eyes and ears up to some of the travails and tribulations that take place throughout our cities, our states, our country, and sometimes around the world. And this particular topic today is not necessarily about a specific city or state, but it is about one of our top airline companies in the corporate fabric of our American society, who has been in the headlines over the last 7 to 8 years with some troubling stories of negative behavior that is taking place with some of the employees against some of the passengers and customers that are flying American Airlines. So I'm talking about racial discrimination, racial profiling that has taken place with American Airlines against black passengers and paying customers. What is happening with American Airlines and its black customers? And here's a recent one. American Airlines removed 8 black men from flight after odor complaint, federal lawsuit says. 3 black men filed a lawsuit against a major U.S. airline on Wednesday, alleging flight attendants racially profiled them on a New York City-bound flight in January over a body odor complaint. Alvin Jackson, Emmanuel Jean Joseph, and Xavier Ville filed a lawsuit in the Eastern District of New York, alleging American Airlines employees on Flight 832 from Phoenix approached them and 5 other black passengers and later ordered them all to deboard, not aboard, deboard the plane without explanation. As they began to comply with the orders, the men noticed that the only passengers who were being ordered off the flight were black men, and it appeared that every black man on the plane was being removed according to the complaint. Remember, this is 2024, not 1924. What happened to us was wrong, the men said in a joint statement released by Odor and Golden LLP. Imagine a flight attendant ordering every white person off a plane because of a complaint about one white person. That would never happen. But that is what happened to us. There is no explanation other than the color of our skin. According to the release, the men are represented by Susan Junta and Lindsay M. Goldbrum of Odor and Golden LLP, and Michael Kirkpatrick and Lauren E. Bateman of Public Citizen Litigation Group. Odor and Golden LLP didn't immediately respond to U.S. Today's request for comment. The release said that none of the plaintiffs knew each other before the January incident. So none of these 8 individuals knew each other. That lets you know that they were targeted, allegedly. Adding later that American Airlines representatives explained that they were removed from the flight because a white male flight attendant complained about an unidentified passenger's body odor. This is an unbelievable story. According to the lawsuit, the men pointed out that it looked like their removal was discriminatory, and they were solely removed because they were black, to which an American Airlines representative said, "I agree, I agree." The men were later allowed back on the flight after no available American Airlines flights could be found. The plaintiffs are seeking compensation for pain and suffering, attorney fees, and punitive damages sufficient enough to deter American from discriminating against black passengers in the future, according to the lawsuit. And now American Airlines, what they said on the lawsuit, claims do not reflect their core values. In an email statement, American Airlines said it is investigating the incident. We take all claims of discrimination very seriously and want our customers to have a positive experience when they choose to fly with us, the airline said in a statement. Our teams are currently investigating the matter, as the claims do not reflect our core values or our purpose of caring for people. Attorney Michael Kirkpatrick, a lawyer from Public Citizen representing the men, told U.S. Today that a complaint was filed with the U.S. Department of Transportation, which prompted American Airlines Customer Service Department to contact the men. Attorney Kirkpatrick returned the call on the men's behalf and requested to speak to the airline's legal team, which he said hadn't contacted him. The other 5 men removed from the plane didn't share contact information with Jackson, Joseph, or Veal when they arrived in New York City. Kirkpatrick said so they aren't included in the lawsuit. Kirkpatrick added he doesn't know if the plaintiffs plan to fly American Airlines in the future, but he said they are anxious about returning to airline travel because of the incident. It's going to bring back bad memories of this, he said. Kirkpatrick also pointed out that none of the plaintiffs could recall smelling anything bad on the flight. Before takeoff, Kirkpatrick said the 8 men were pulled off the flight with no explanation. They skipped rows of white people to get to our clients and were clearly walking through the airplane and picking out the black men with no white passengers to get off the plane, he said. They were spread throughout the plane. They didn't even know each other, the 8 black men. The justification was nullified, he added, when the men were allowed back on the same plane after no other flights were found. It led them to believe it was just an excuse to remove the men. The men reboarded the plane, and Attorney Kirkpatrick said they felt angered, frustrated, fearful, and embarrassed for what happened. None of the employees offered them an apology or an explanation for what happened. When they got to their seats, people around them told them what happened and were horrified by what they'd seen in just black men being removed from the plane, Attorney Kirkpatrick said. Now, there also has been previous lawsuits against American Airlines with some similar details as stated in this story. The complaint is the latest incident involving the airline. Earlier this week, American Airlines fired its legal team following statements that a young girl was negligent after being recorded using a bathroom by a flight attendant. In 2020, Aubrey Kelly and Elgin Banks, both black men, sued the airline for racial discrimination after they said the airline forced Kelly to check his own carry-on instead of placing it in the overhead compartment, and when Banks requested a seat change but was denied it despite other passengers being approved. The case was dismissed in April 2021 in favor of American Airlines, according to the U.S. District Court records. In 2017, the NAACP issued a rare travel advisory warning black people to exercise caution when traveling on American Airlines. It followed a series of events that included a black passenger being removed from a flight and one having their seat arrangement changed. Attorney Kirkpatrick said that forced the men to request American Airlines to amend their training, policies, and employee practices to ensure no passengers experience what they experience in the future. They were committed to bringing this case so it doesn't happen to anyone else and hope it could be a catalyst for change in America and with American Airlines so they don't have this experience again in the future. What do you all think about that? This is 2024, and you're telling me that American Airlines, that has American in the title of this airline company, America, the land of the free, the land of opportunity, the land of so-called equalness, that they are still racially profiling as if these guys were driving a car, 4, 5, or 8 black male subjects in an all-white suburb, and a white police officer pulls their particular car over but doesn't pull any other cars that are passing down the street and wants to know what is going on with them and is making a traffic stop for no apparent reason beside driving while black. Now we have flying while black. where are we headed in this world today? We have all these other things that we need to be worried about, and we should be galvanizing each and everybody, black, white, race, gender, creed, color, sexual preference. What difference does it make? We're all human beings, and we're all byproducts of God's children. And for American Airlines in 2024, with social media, with stories going viral, with videos going viral, they need to have a proper training program for their employees not to discriminate or isolate or pick certain individuals out and denigrate them in front of other passengers, because a civil lawsuit is very easy to uh, bring against a company, bring against an employer uh, in today's time. There are tons of lawyers that cannot wait to garner a large civil suit against a major company like American Airlines. And so their employees are putting American Airlines at the mercy of the court and at the mercy of a huge judgment when you have racial profiling and discriminatory practices that are allegedly taking place on the plane. Most people want to get on a plane, get to where they want to go, and be done with it. That's it. I just did a previous story about American Airlines again, and a flight attendant where a retired female judge from Chicago who was flying to Phoenix, and she was with her husband and her mother, was in first class, and she got up to go to the restroom, and the flight attendant allegedly told her to stop slamming the door, stop using the first class bathroom so much, even though she was in first class with her husband and mother, and then commenced to telling her to go use the bathroom in the back of the plane, almost a Rosa Parks kind of statement. Now, what in the world, if this is taking place, what is the black community going to do? Are we going to protest American Airlines? Are we going to try and, because the best way to hit American Airlines is through their pockets, whether it's through a civil lawsuit or whether it's through protesting and not buying a ticket to get on American. Will the black community come together to do that? Probably not, because most individuals are personalized into their own things that are taking place in their lives. And many people, when they listen to these stories, they don't think it will happen to them until it does. No different than a wealthy black lawyer, doctor who's driving back to his house in the suburbs, and a white male police officer pulls him over and berates him and wants to know why is he in that neighborhood when the black man has been living there for 10 years. But when we hear these stories, other black folks don't think it will happen to them, but it does. What should be the response in the black community as a result of these multiple storylines of American Airlines treating its black customer base very poorly? You have a black female judge out of Chicago, retired. This woman was in her 60s. She wasn't 20 years old, sitting in first class, paid for an expensive seat, not only for her, but her husband and her mother to go to Phoenix and to come back. We all know how much that costs. And then you have, instead of appreciating that, you have a flight attendant that's telling her to stop slamming the door and she's going to the bathroom too much, waking up other first class passengers, and to use the bathroom in the back of the plane. What kind of triggering do you think that did for this 60, 65-year-old black female? Of course, it immediately gave her Rosa Parks um, kinds of nightmare reminders. And now you have 8 black men that were pinpointed and segregated to get off the plane because of body odor. Really, I've never heard of a story of 8 white passengers, male passengers, having to do that. You don't hear about white drivers driving while white and getting pulled over. And um, you're seeing way too many times where it becomes this issue of the color of your skin versus the content of your character. and being isolated and denigrated in many of these situations. I've never heard of a story where 8 white male passengers had to leave a plane, a bus, a train, or an automobile because of their body odor or the color of their skin. This is very disappointing. Airlines are always struggling financially and going bankrupt, and this is the last thing that American Airlines needs. It doesn't make any sense. They need to review their policies for employees and how they treat customers. And most people just want to get on a plane. It's stressful enough with TSA, luggage, travel. Uh, you want to be able to get on a plane, sit there, enjoy, go to sleep, read a book, get to your next destination without being worried about being racially profiled as if you're driving your car in a white suburb and you happen to be an African American or black driver and or passenger of a car, hoping that you don't get pulled over for no apparent reason. And now you have black uh, passengers on a plane that have to worry about if they're going to get kicked off the plane because of the color of their skin or their body odor. Tell me what you think. This has been the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth in a positive, righteous, and God fearing way. And American Airlines needs to be accountable for treating each and every customer and passenger with equality and the positivity and willingness for them to go from one destination point to another without being stressed out, without having high levels of anxiety, let alone getting kicked off a plane when they have purchased their ticket like everyone else that was on there. Tell me what you think.